Hello, are we back again? We are. That light is flashing so you can see me, and I'm going to stand this time instead. This is my new gimmick, the headphones and the bottle of water, of course, and normally something wacky to say. So if any of my neighbours want to make noise while I'm doing this, I'm going to get you. Anyways, breaking news. Now I always say the name wrong, and I guarantee you somebody is going to type, "That's not how you say it, douchebag!" But Prince Devitt of New Japan Pro Wrestling fame has now apparently signed with the WWE, and there is a lot to say about that, and hopefully this man revving up his car doesn't get too loud because I might kill him on screen. Right, good, he's gone. God, death threats on YouTube, wonderful, aren't they? Right, here's what I think. Okay, Prince Devitt is a very, very skilled in-ring wrestler. Very, very good. I've watched a lot of his stuff outside of the WWE in New Japan Pro Wrestling. I became familiar with his work from Power Slam magazine when he did an interview. I know he's a very, very, very skilled wrestler. He's the junior heavyweight champion there, or was the junior heavyweight champion there, and there had been interest in signing Prince Devitt for a long time, I believe, at least a year. I remember hearing these rumours, and I think that Prince Devitt in particular, maybe in the last year, has really come into his own. I like the whole Bullet Club stable that he has going. He's showing a lot more pizzazz, which is something a lot of indie wrestlers get accused of not doing enough, or wrestlers outside of the WWE get accused of not doing enough. I think Japan has really helped him grow as a wrestler, really helped him develop. I know he's done some stuff in Mexico too, which is good, and I think I'd rather see him do a few more things in Mexico before he went to WWE, but either way, he's really come along as a wrestler, really come along as a performer, and this NXT, this new talent initiative, this developmental, whatever you want to call it, they are always going to need people there to then bring up. This is a star-making business, and you've always got to make stars, and you've always got to have the cusp of, you've always got to be on the pulse of what talent is coming up, what talent is on the pulse right now, and he is one of those guys, along with Okada, in my opinion, along with Machine Gun Cole Anderson, who's another one who's really stepped up, along with a lot of other guys outside of WWE and TNA that I think should be in the WWE or TNA. And I think it's a very good acquisition if it is true that they have signed him. Very, very pleased to hear that they've signed him. I am nervous, however. As a wrestling fan, I can't help but feel nervous because their reputation with talent from Japan is not necessarily the best. And apparently Kenta has signed too, so if Kenta has signed or is on the verge of signing, that's interesting. So I want to know what happens there. But focusing on Devitt for a bit, what could happen, what will happen? I think that he's probably intrigued to go because it's the WWE. Look, there seems to be this notion of all these independent wrestlers that are not fans of WWE. Look, the whole reason that most of those guys are there is because at some point they watched WWF in the 80s or 90s or WCW and it got them intrigued, and I believe he's one of them. I think the Bullet Club was very inspired by the NWO a little bit, and you can tell a little bit at times when you watch it that he's inspired by that. And okay, what was I going to say? I've lost my train of thought there because of that man driving past. Anyways, what I was going to say is this: him in the WWE, I think is a good acquisition of talent. I like the idea they've signed him, but I can't help but be nervous of it because their reputation with international talent is not necessarily the best. We've seen what they've done to Ultimate Dragon. We've seen what they have done to Tyson Kidd. We have seen what they have done. Well, it's debatable what they have done with Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, where they have been used but not to their fullest, and there's always been something that they have been able to attach to them, and it's like an Albatross cross that they can't fully, it's holding them back. With Daniel Bryan, when he came in, he's too small, he can't cut a promo, he's not got enough charisma, he's bland. Even though he was none of those things, he was an excellent performer, but they still did that. With CM Punk, there was similar stuff going on. But then again, on the other hand, I'm sure that a guy like Prince Devitt has seen the success that they have had financially, and that they are now worldwide, well-known, international household names, and probably thinks, well, I wouldn't mind a bit of that shine too. And why not? Because you do want to make money too, and you do want to, develop a legacy, and I believe he's one of those guys that wants to do that. and you can see what the, you can see the success that they have had, even though it's debated about how successful they really have been. I'm sure that he sees that and thinks, well, that could be me. You also have to look into this. Look at how Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns were used. Well, Roman Reigns really is a WWE project, but if you look at Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, both top independent wrestlers as Tyler Black and Jon Moxley, heavily praised, lots of critical acclaim on the indie scene, and there was a fear that when they would get signed, the WWE would completely misuse them. And it's pretty much safe to say, in the 2 years now that they have been on the roster, they have been used tremendously, and that is a really positive thing to see. Then you look at someone like Adrian Neville, who's extremely talented, very, very talented, very good at what he does. And the one thing that hurts him is he can't cut a promo. His promos are ropey. And the thing is, on that roster, you need to at least know how to cut a promo adequately. Fortunately enough for Devitt, I think he's adequate enough on the stick and has a bit of a personality, and that could help him. And if he develops that more in NXT than anything, I think he could be very, very successful. Now, the other fear that I have is we've seen how WWE love to use stereotypes, and we have seen every Japanese wrestler come over and they are sneaky and they like to drink soya milk and throw salt in the eyes and do chops because they have an extensive martial arts background. We've seen what they've done with like Latin American wrestlers, and it's hilarious to me because Puerto Rican culture is not the same as Mexican culture. They're so different, but they don't understand that, but they just dress them in these stereotypes that you see on television, and it just doesn't kind of work. And then you see what they've done with Sheamus, and that does make me nervous for Devitt. Now, everyone's going to say, hold on a second, Sheamus was a main eventer, Sheamus was WWE champion, Sheamus was a world champion, he's had a pretty good run. Think about it like this. Sheamus is a solid wrestler, but the one criticism that we all have over Sheamus that we've had on the internet, whether it's been Delax Man talking, who does great videos, whether it's Stevie Breach doing videos, whether it's Truth Slayer when he's bothered to show up, do videos, whoever it is, we've all said the same thing, and it's universal here. His promo material is god awful. Oh my goodness. It's like this really awful like stereotype of like, someone like Sheamus will be Irish folk tales and these just bad promos. If he's not playing up to this Irish folktale bad promo material, he's doing basically John Cena-like comedy, and I don't want to see them do that with Prince Devitt. I think that could really hurt him. Let him be a bit more of himself, have more of an organic personality. If you think he's not that good enough, have him, have a dynamic idea where you can kind of hide that while it's being developed. Like, an idea like The Shield or a manager, which, to be honest with you, they really need to do some more in that area and develop that and bring managers back. Maybe they could do that. I am nervous for his success, but I do think that it is possible for him to have a very good run. The other thing is, I hope he doesn't become a wrestler that just gets lost in the shuffle. We've seen it too many times when a talented wrestler is on the roster and they're just treading water. Look at Dolph Ziggler right now, and I don't want to see him go by that way. I also don't want to see him end up like, and this is the best way I can do it, and I said the names before, you can have a guy like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, who, to be honest with you, have been successful. Look at that pec. Or you have a guy like Tyson Kidd of that same cloth, who, was an excellent wrestler, but he's a nobody now. He's an absolute nobody. In fact, his biggest push that he's ever had in his career is coming off of Total Divas, where we have been told that this man is boring, that this man has no mojo, and he has to do role plays to get his wife going. That has been his biggest push ever in his career, and I'm sure all those years rolling on mats in Japan was worth it to be told on national TV he has no mojo and he has to do role plays to get his sex life going. I did not want to see Prince Devitt go down that route. I would rather see him go down the route of a CM Punk or a Daniel Bryan, and I believe it's possible, as opposed to that. And I hope that they have an idea for him. I know now that they are... Well, there was a period where they were like, we're not going to bring guys up until we have dynamic ideas, and I am glad they are doing that. But now I've seen some wacky just debuts and gimmicks. Adam Rose, do you really know what he is or what he stands for? No. and I don't want to see them call him up and do that with him. Sami Callihan, where the hell has he been? I don't want to see him go down that route just yet, although I don't know what's going on with him. If anyone knows, comment below, give me a reference, tell me what's going on there. Sami Zayn, who's getting a lot of critical acclaim and people want on the roster, they just haven't found their idea for him, and I wouldn't like him to be typecast in a role where it's like he's a good hand, we'll just call him up because he's a good hand. I wouldn't like to see that happen to him and Sami Zayn. So it's very, very interesting now if this is true, because I've just kind of just heard this and I believe it is. It's very exciting. Be very exciting to see what they do. Apparently he goes there in August, and to be honest with you, if anything, you should check out his New Japan stuff. To tell you the truth, New Japan has been on fire for the last few years. What a turnaround it's been. You compare that to TNA and it's just like, you know, once again, there you go. And I think he could have had more success in TNA had TNA been successful, but unfortunately, TNA, guess what? You've done it to yourselves. Anyways, this is me talking. This is me getting out. Guys, let me know what you think. Let me know what you feel. Let me know all the things all the feelings you have about this one. I have a horrible feeling, you know, with these wacky gimmicks, they might give him a wacky gimmick too. I almost envision his first day at NXT like that scene in the X-Men where Wolverine, as Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, comes in and he's in the Professor Xavier's office, and he's telling him, this is Storm, this is Cyclops, this is da-da-da, and I have a feeling he's going to hear all these stupid gimmick names. And he's just going to be like something similar to like, what's a Magneto, like what's an Adam Rose or something. This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. That actually would be a hell of a way to debut him, actually, with Triple H saying all these wacky names and then being like, what do they call you, Big Nose? I don't know, something ridiculous. Anyways, guys, I'm waffling. Let me know what you think. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to do some stuff, and comment, rate, subscribe, and I shall see you soon later. By the way, next video, Diaz vs Anderson Silva.